Hello Bookish readers, my name is Medallio and welcome to my channel Bookish Bedroom Reviews with Medallio, yours truly, where I review smutty and lovely indie books with giggles and honest commentary. So please support indie books with me by liking and subscribing for more recs and reviews like these. So today I am going to ask you to mix your toxic bitch, which is juice, vodka, and tequila, and settle in for this cozy review of Toxic Bitch by Cassie Lein. And I hope I'm saying her last name right. I apologize if I'm not. But this is my first time reading a book by Lein, and it won't be my last because this was a really good read. I think it was also recommended by the author in a Facebook group, so thank you. If it was Facebook, I think it was. But thank you. But what intrigued me the most about this book was that it's about a female main character psychopath, and the main character isn't. So what kept me reading, what kept me more and more interested, was finding out how he was going to react once he found out who she really was. The other aspect as to why I thought this was an interesting read was because the female FMC, she's a curvy pinup style girl, and the main male character, he's a curvy, soft-bellied man, and I was like, okay. Summary. The story is told in 2 points of view, where we get Indigo and Malik, and I loved it, first of all. But we basically start in Indigo's point of view, and we have to set the story, because Indigo works at a bar where everything basically takes place. Oh, shoot. My ring just like flew off my finger. Okay. Okay, so Indigo works at this bar as a bartender where she makes drinks like Toxic Bitch, and I love that we get the recipe like I stated in the beginning of this review. And she inadvertently meets Malik, because Malik comes up to the bar and he's, puts his credit card down, and he's like really excited because he met this beautiful girl who thinks is really sweet and caring and actually likes him for, what he looks like, because he's not the quintessential 6'5" ladder up man. But he's all excited and he slaps on his credit card, and Indigo is kind of, talking to him, and she's encouraging him like, you got this, you can do this, but she's also checking him out. So we know that she's attracted to him basically like pretty early on in the book. And then we also, at the same time, we get Indigo accosted in the back room, while Malik is dancing and having a good time. She's accosted in the back room by this man named Roman, who's just a regular customer, and how he got in the back room, I don't know. What? How did he get there? Where's the bouncer? And then, so she's basically like telling him like to leave her alone. She's giving him all these chances, like, hey, you gotta get out of here. You shouldn't be here. He's a little drunk. And she's just like, I know these kind of men. I know what kind of man this is. And he doesn't leave her alone. So she's like, well, he did it to himself. He is now on my list. So we have a new victim for Indigo at this point. And I have to say that the parts where he accosts her in the back room, I think that the accost part is just very common in dark romances. I have to say it because, come on. I think that the author was trying to give us a reason why this guy should be unalived. And for the basis of this book and the story, how it goes, yes. But in real life, absolutely not. Okay. But so Indigo basically stalks him, and she brings him back to this like new build development where like houses are being built but they're not finished. So she takes him to this house that she randomly chooses. She just thinks it'll be a great place to paint her masterpieces. And she tortures him and she unalives him, and then the place is burnt down. And then we see these parallels coming into fruition, because Malik, before he's even met Indigo, he is a like home restorer. So he's coming in and he's basically being like shown this house that was burnt down, and he's being asked if he can come in and like basically make it beautiful and like restore it to what it originally was. And he has no idea that this is the place that Indigo, unalived this person. And then the other parallel that we see, which drives the story, is that, Malik got Elle's number from the bar, and I said it was a wrong number. And we find out that the wrong number actually is Indigo's number. I don't know how Elle had Indigo's number because they don't know each other. They've never met each other. They had no ties to each other whatsoever. So I don't know how that is possible. But there it is. So, he texts this number thinking it's Elle, and he's like, do you think maybe we could go out? I thought we had a really good vibe. Maybe we could go out sometime. And then Indigo is actually in the middle of murdering when she gets this text. And she's just like, who is this? And then they establish that it's a wrong number. But she's like, he sounds nice. Let's keep talking. So they basically develop this really great friendship that I thought was like super healthy considering who she really is. And they just have this really great banter, and they have really good like conversations between the two of them. And I was like, okay, I can see them being together, but I didn't really understand how it was going to work when he found out who she was. So so they decide to become friends, and then Malik works up the nerve to ask her out in person. And when this happens, this basically kicks off their intimate relationship. So now that Indigo is in this relationship, she basically feels like she's only living one half of herself, and she's not able to share her masterpieces. And she's also afraid of what Malik will think of her once he finds out who she really is. So Malik does find out who she really is. And I was like, yes, we finally got here. Like, I finally get to see what he does and how he reacts. I think his reactions were really, really well written. Um, he basically goes through this whole moral compass. Like, his moral compass is thrown, and like it's like going haywire because one part of him is like, this is wrong. This is completely and utterly wrong and disgusting. But the other part of him is like intrigued, and he also really likes her because they were in a relationship before he found out who she really was. And he can't seem to turn off those feelings and just walk away. And he even says it. He says it himself, like, if he was a normal person, which he was hoping which he thought he was this whole time, like, I would just ghost her and walk away. But he's like, for some reason, I can't do it. And I think it also comes down to her dark, unhinged aspects of herself call to him. He has a little bit of an unhingedness that the author throws in every now and then, but we don't really, it's not like her. He's not a psychopath, not anything like her. I personally, I don't think I could be with somebody who calls them a self-proclaimed killer or assassin. I just don't think I could be with somebody who considers themselves a judge, jury, and executioner. I know this is a hardcore debate because of what's happening right now when it comes like Luigi. Is he a vigilante or is he a killer? Drop a comment with your thoughts. I just don't think I could do it. Is this rooted in reality? Who knows? I hope not, but I don't think I could be with somebody like them. Character analysis. Indigo. She was passed around in the foster care system, and she did not live an easy life. We also find out that at a very young age, she was verbally and physically abused, and she had to make very life or death types of decisions in order to survive. And we find out that at that young age, this is when she became an unaliver. But at this point, she's not doing it for sport. She's doing it basically to stay alive and to survive. So it's like they're unalived or I am type of situation. And I think that the author threw this in there because they want us to have sympathy for this character and to be like, okay, this is why she's a psychopath. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how that works. psychologically for somebody to become a psychopath. I know you can be born one. I know you can. I know there are tests you can take to be clinically diagnosed as one. I don't know if Indigo is actually a diagnosed psychopath, and I think that if she was diagnosed, she wouldn't be able to roam free, you know. But but now she has Malik in her life, and she's basically trying to figure out how she can tell him who she really is, because she's hiding who she really is, because she's never really been able to show that side of herself, and she's afraid that he'll leave her just like all the others that she's dated have done. No, I don't know if she's actually told her past relationships who she really was. I think she just kind of gauged their reactions and who they were, like, in their moral compass. Malik. He's insecure and he has body image issues based on other people's reactions and remarks to him, or, like, you know, behind his back, and especially because of women. But you know, he has like an average body. I think he has a fine body. It's just average. It's just softer than like what we're used to in smutty books. I think he's hardworking. He has a booming home restoration business, but we don't really know much about him besides like the person that we see in the story. We don't really get a lot of background information about him, but he definitely comes across as a normal, nice, just sweet, normal guy, but he has a bit of a dark side that he feels like he can now safely tap into. He's not a killer like Indigo by any means, but he does have feelings for her, and he doesn't want to walk away from that and walk away from her after finding out who she really is. We also find out that he has a bit of a kink for watching her create her masterpieces.
Masterpiece.
He likes it a lot. but you know, he worships her, and she worships him. Conflict. Now, the main conflict, if you haven't already figured out, is that Indigo is a serial killer, and she shows absolutely no signs of stopping, and she targets bad people. I think it's like she targets bad people to justify the murders, but I think this is like a vigilante type of vibe for her.
Cool vigilantes.
Conclusion. So my greatest takeaways from reading Toxic Bitch by Cassie Lein was that serial killers, they need love, and they need an outlet for their desires. I think that the moral compass on this one is extremely skewed, but I think it has to be in order to make the story work. I think it might also be how a psychopath really operates and how they think. I mean, for all we know, a psychopath, I'm not a psychologist, but you know, a psychopath might need to skew reality a little bit in order to make sense of how they think and to justify it. My other takeaway was that for me, this book was extremely gory. There were some details regarding the murders that I just couldn't stomach, and I had to take a break from reading or skip the gory details for my mental health personally. You know, if you haven't already figured out, you know, the trigger warnings are what I found: gore, unaliving, and, you know, and there's some mentions of childhood trauma that's not detailed, thankfully. Recommendation: if you don't mind reading dark romances with grotesque details, then I definitely recommend Toxic Bitch by Cassie Lein. I hope, again, I'm saying her name correctly, you know, but mix your toxic bitch drink of vodka juice and tequila, settle in, and just get ready for the read, because it's a wild ride. But that is all I have for you for this review. Have you read any really good paranormal fated mates romances recently? Well, you're in luck because there is a popular book out there called the Hybrid series with Youngblood Book 1 and Shadow Creatures Book 2 written by yours truly. But pick up your copies of both and kindly leave a review if you do. I'll post the links in the caption. Please continue to support indie authors with me. Subscribe for more book recommendations and reviews just like these. Thank you so much. Goodbye.